Salutations, my name is Phil, aka JC Servant, and today I wanted to address a comment that popped up early a couple of times, at least 2 or 3 times, on my last video where I ranked who is good at soloing, right, and whatever have you. And I put Tanker a little bit lower on that list, on the bottom half, I believe, and my biggest argument there was ultimately it kills very slowly. Now, there were a couple of presumptions going into my arguments that I try to make clear at the beginning of that. Number one, I'm talking about soloing, and I'm talking about soloing through the leveling process. That means you don't have a lot of great sets, and you're only through most of that. A lot of players, if you're playing the game kind of the way it's intended to be played, you're probably using SOs up until your 20s, 30s, and then you're switching over to IOs, and you may or may not be engaging in some set bonuses, along the way in your 30s and your 40s. I generally don't, as most of you know, until you get to the 50s. Now, when you get to 50, and if you got tons and tons of influence because you do farms and whatever have you, the game kind of changes quite a bit, because now all of a sudden your blasters can have a ton of armor and tank as well as any other, class that isn't a tank, really, almost. And your probably your lower DPS classes like Tanker can start doing a lot more DPS because they're taking on epic power pools and they're getting set bonuses and all this other jazz. But I'm talking about the entire leveling experience. I don't think I really need to pull up a level 10 or 20 tank to show you guys just how slow that can be. But what I have done here is I have a level 40, I believe, tank that I worked on a year and a half ago to run with a group. And anytime I play this character solo, my memory was that it was like pulling teeth. It was just so slow. So after the comments, I decided to pull this character out of Mothball and give that character another shot. So this is one of those characters here, my Power Ranger. I have lots of Power Rangers, Farmer Rangers, I should say, and this one's not a Farmer Ranger, because Tinker Ranger, I think it's called. But anywho, we're going to go in and kill. Now, this particular one, and this kind of goes into my presumptions that I was talking about earlier, so let's take a look at our powers and our enhancements. Now, I mostly build my characters for concept first. I don't go around looking for the best XYZ build as a general rule. It doesn't mean I don't ever do it. If I really am dying to solo Defender, I clearly got to go out of my way to find a Defender build that can solo well. But again, that's why Defender gets a low rating, because outside of a couple particular builds, they really don't solo well. Tanks probably come underneath the same category. I'm sure there's a couple of unique builds out there that might pop off a little bit more than damage than others, and certain power sets that are better than others. But I picked a couple based on some themes I was going for, and I didn't have a great experience. Now, so we're using martial arts and invulnerability. Invulnerability is just the defensive set, martial arts, and this is your typical thing that you would see around level 30 to 40. You've got a number of enhancements in here, focusing mostly on damage, a balance of damage and accuracy. And then my one AoE, I've got 3 damages, 2 accuracies, and a recharge, so that can pop as often as possible because it's my only AoE in the martials. I did hear in some of the comments, man, you got to take like fire or something that has like a couple of AoEs, like a cone attack or whatever have you. And I'm sure that would kill a little bit faster when you're dealing with a group of mobs that are surrounding you. But as you're going to see here, my problems aren't just how well they take care of masses of mobs. Now, another one of my assumptions that I mentioned is that I pay it +0 × 1. Okay, so you're not seeing me put in extra tough mobs or whatever have you. I picked the first story arc that I could, the very first one off the list for the level category this character was ready for in Ouroboros, which is this mission here where find Edgar or whatever. And I end up fighting some Circle of Thorns here. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you a tank, I'm going to show you a blaster, and I'm going to show you a sentinel. And they're all roughly the same level with the same approach to how their powers are kind of statted out. And we're just going to do a quick experiment here together. And I'm just going to tell you, give you some more evidence why I have the opinion that I do, that while tankers are extremely survivable, and this person will probably never die in an Ouroboros mission, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's fun. Right, and part of my definition of where things rank on that definitely have to do with how fun it is, right? So we're going to take on a group of minions right here, and we're definitely going to spam the AoE, and we take him out in a couple hits, no big deal. And we'll go ahead and do another crippling axe. Now, it's the lieutenants here that will give me a problem. So you're going to see here that this lieutenant here is going to take quite a bit to go down. And all the while, my endurance is draining. Because it's a lot of hits. Plus, it's an endurance heavy, like tanker with their things is heavy duty. It wasn't the longest time in the world on that one. That one actually went much faster than the one I did earlier today. But now I need a rest, right? Because endurance is low. I can certainly turn off, and I do generally speaking, in things that you turn on, I usually stick at least one endurance reduction there. I could probably use a couple more for some of these. To reduce that endurance costs a little bit more to help make that. And I do have 3 in stamina here. This could be optimized a titch better. So, but with that being said, we're gonna see that endurance can be a little bit of an issue, and that slows down the leveling process even more. All right, let's go ahead and try to get this guy here. I'm not trying to draw like a big, huge grip at once. So, I'm gonna focus on this one guy right here for now. And again, it's an orange lieutenant, right? And we're going to see just how many hits here. We're up to 5 hits and pumpkins at half health. 6, 7. And now I have to wait for things to recharge. 8, 9. And this is what was when I had played this earlier and I took this character through a number of encounters. That was kind of a typical day in Paradise. And now my endurance is almost out. So I'm going to have to reach for an inspiration here and eat a Tic Tac to keep from not tapping out here. All right, definitely need a rest after that. Now, I will say, normally my attitude is I don't like to do sets before I get to 50. I normally don't go for set bonuses and whatever have you. You're going to see this on my Blaster. My Blaster doesn't have hardly any set bonuses. But I think in the case of the tankard, because of the endurance being such a big problem, I would probably be very tempted to get at least a few sets to really reduce some of those. I'm going to turn off some of my defensive powers just to conserve endurance and see how well that goes for me. Oh, didn't realize there was still a guy alive up here, so let's go ahead and grab him. So I just want you to kind of get, each of you who are watching, just get kind of a general feel here for how many hits it's taken me to take out various minions and lieutenants. And just get a kind of a general feeling for that. I'm trying not to use inspirations here, so we're going to try to just take this on naturally so I don't inflate my numbers with inspirations here. We'll just go ahead and use what AoE we have to start wearing this whole group down. Now, to y'all's earlier point, yeah, if I'm going to solo with this character a lot, it would definitely behoove me to pick one of the very numerous power sets out there that have more than one AoE. I picked martial arts because that actually fits Power Rangers. You know, you watch the show, what do they use? They use martial arts, right, to mostly dispatch their foes. So that's why I chose martial arts. I will say I have like, is it a blaster with martial arts or a corruptor or something like that? And I like it a lot. So I'm getting through these guys, right, and turning off those toggles has helped my endurance a bit. But it is a journey, right? This is taking some time. And that's fine. I mean, it's a tank. It, you know, and I don't think this is unbearable. I don't think this is undoable. That's why I didn't put it down in the lower category. Like, oh my gosh, don't even try. I did put a couple of classes down there in the, oh my gosh, I would never solo with them. Here, I could solo with this if I want a more chill evening, want to go things slow and steady is going to win the race. This is the class to do it, right? No problem with that. So I'm going to log out, and now we're going to switch to a blaster. We're going to show you like night and day what I'm talking about in terms of the difference in the speed, right? And the exact same mission, using the same approach on a typical leveling up character. And this is pretty much how they feel through the 20s and the 30s. Now, if you're doing it like the lower levels, like the 5s, the 10s, the 15s, I think the tank even goes even slower because I don't have as much AoE. But even so, let's pull up a blaster, right? We'll pull up our blaster here. And we will pull up Kim Archer. Now, speaking of not being optimized, Biobeam is not known for being a DPS king at all. And I don't have any melees on this. I've heard from everybody that blappers, not snipers, are the highest DPS that you want to play. If you're playing a blaster, you need to play a blapper. So this character is definitely not your DPS queen. She is definitely just, again, I built this all on concept and whatever have you. Now, she doesn't have nearly the defenses the tanker does, so if she gets caught unawares, things tend to be in very poorly for her. But right now, I just want to compare offense and not defense for a hot minute here. Because my problem with the tanker wasn't survivability, it was just how fast you kind of get through things, right? So we'll go through this mission, we'll see if we can't find something to kill. And it's the exact same mission, so we should fight similar mobs, even if they're clearly in different places, and for whatever reason they decided to give us a dungeon without... Oh, there we go. So there we have a couple of orange. We have a minions. These are all minions, right? Now, of course, with the blaster, we can just go ahead and just do our tier 9 there. And whoop, they're all dead now. Whoop, that was easy. All right, now we have another group. We're not going to be able to use a tier 9 power really quick. So we're going to go ahead and just use... speaking of not having a lot of AoE, the beam rifle really doesn't have good AoEs. It has the one tier 9, which is awesome. And then that's kind of it. You have a cone attack, and you got this one that, if they're really bunched together, you might hit 2 or 3, but it doesn't go beyond 3. So it's one of the weakest in terms of just pure AoE. But when it comes to like getting through these orange guys, and this is partly because of the blaster class kit, you can just see we melt through them a lot faster. Boom, 2 full groups are done like that. Now I did take some damage there. It's not a very tanky class, and what have you. Normally I might use some inspirations to help that out just a titch, but we're trying to keep that off to have a clean comparison between these two. Now the next thing I really want to find here is a lieutenant, because I don't think we've run into a lieutenant yet. And it's only when you're doing like a YouTube video, there's like no enemy. Look at this. This is like the no enemy hallway. All right, please tell me you're a lieutenant. There we go. We have a lieutenant there. We have a minion here. Of course, with the what do you get with a blaster? But you get a snipe attack, right? For dealing with lieutenants. So we're going to go ahead and just do that. And boom, lieutenant's dead, right? That's just with the yellows. Oh, I need to show you my enhancements on this. But again, nothing special on the enhancements. And then we're just going to 2-shot without even using any special attacks or big cooldown attacks. Well, disintegrate just softens them up a bit. But we'll go ahead and 2 or 3 shot the rest of these guys. Here's another lieutenant up here. Snipe it. I'm in combat, so snipe. I don't think we'll do the sniper thing. Right. We'll just do some decent damage, but we won't get a full snipe attack. And I think he fell behind the staircase, so I'm going to have to get creative just to finish him off. But you're going to see, like, it only takes a couple of regular shots. Boom. Orange lieutenant down just that quick. All right. So that's what I'm saying. To me, this is a more engaging, entertaining experience. Now, the Blaster is not the highest on my solo list. I think I have 3 or 4 other classes above Blaster, because the weakness is survivability. And when you do get in against certain bosses, or you get caught unawares by a roaming group or around a corner, whatever, then you tend to crumple them pretty quickly. And that means an extra trip to the hospital, which kind of slows you down, and it's not exactly fun. But I think that the overall fun factor of soloing with this class is much higher for me personally, because it melts things so quickly. And the fact that the defenses aren't there do hold it back a bit from the top spot, absolutely. But I'd rather deal with occasionally living by the skin of my teeth and taking a trip to the hospital than dealing with something that constantly kills as slow as the tank relative to this class. Now, it's time to give you something in between. Something that I rated higher than both of these, right, would be something in between. Let's take a look at... we'll take a look at a blaster. Let me switch my screen here. Now, this blaster here is something I just whipped up in the testing server, the beta server, whatever. Because I don't have a level 40 Sentinel. I have level 50s, I have level 20s, and those 50s are pretty well decked out in gear. So we're going to do a level 40 that I made up here. Oh, and I forgot to show you the powers on the last one, but trust me when I say, if we go into the enhancements, I enhance all these pretty much the same way, right? And in fact, I'm tying one arm behind the Sentinel's back here because there's only 4 slots in each of the Ice Blast powers. Obviously, if you're going to go more offensive, you would put 6. I'm tying an arm behind her back, right? I did this really quick. Yellows and reds. That's it. 2 yellows, 2 reds, no set bonuses, right? This is a level, I think it is a level 50 character, but we're exemplaring down, so it should wash out pretty well. I thought I asked it for a level 40 character. Maybe I got level 50. I see level 50 enhancements in there, so that's what I'm thinking. Maybe it is a level 50 character, but no set bonuses. My level 50s on the live server all have big set bonuses, so I don't want to muddy the waters. So I do have several toggles turned on. You'll see here from the ice power, or the what is this power set? Energy aura. So we got ice and energy, and I've got several toggles turned on, very much like I would with the tanker. And we have our offensive powers here and whatever have you. Sorry about that. Someone keeps messaging me there, and I'm very professional. I forget to turn off the cell phone before recording. All right, let me see if I can find. All right, we got some enemies here, and we got a lieutenant no less. Uh-oh, I got spotted. I'm trying not to get spotted, but all right. Because we got aim, we can definitely go ahead and do this to this guy here. Now, I'm not super great on the ice power rotation or anything along those lines, so if I'm not playing optimally, don't judge me. But we're going to go ahead and take care of this orange guy first, and you're going to see how fast his health bar goes down with every power that I use. It just goes boom, it's down. Is this another... This is another lieutenant. So we have 2 lieutenants in a row. With the tanker, that would be a recipe for watching paint dry. Oh my gosh. I did not realize I'm getting myself into a little bit of trouble here. We're going to blow some of the big powers here. I haven't even been blowing the big powers yet, but there we go. I didn't realize my health was getting so low because I'm trying to talk and dissect and do 3 things at once. But I did get a bit hammered there after saying the Sentinel has greater survivability. But anywho, you saw how fast those guys kind of went. Let me try to find another group and hopefully not get thrown off balance. Now, the thing about ice is most people will tell you it's not meta, right? Fire kills much faster. Now, ice is a great power set, don't get me wrong, and it is a fun one to play. And over time, you know, it has nice AoE DOTs. So over time, that damage will stack up. And it's tripping people up and slowing them down, which is a huge value add in some of the powers, right? It has knockdown. So all of that's huge value add, and in a way it can be fun in meta, but it is not your fastest killing at all, right? It's just not. So here we got a nice little group. We got a minion. These are just all minions here. So we got like a minion group. So we're not going to be able to like tier 9 blast them like I would with the... with the blaster, particularly since I am using an ice, which that's our tier 9 right there, right? I believe. So we'll kind of see them. That'll wear them down. So I'm not killing these guys off in one shot like I did with the blaster, but they're going down pretty quick. So yeah, we definitely have superior AoE. But also superior single target damage by a long shot with this. We have a minion. I can't believe they haven't seen me. So just more minions here. We'll soften them up with a little bit of Fry Press and then probably just take them down with some single target attacks here just to see how fast we kind of cruise through them. So at the end of the day, this is where I rest my case. This is why I put tanker down low. It's just because for me, it crosses the threshold of it kills too slowly to be enjoyable. And mind you, my threshold isn't all the way up in Blaster. Sentinel kills slower than a Blaster, but I still find it to be more fun overall because it has increased survivability. And to me, that's more appealing than running around like a chicken with my head cut off. And it's easy to recommend to new people too, right? You recommend a Blaster to a new player. And if they're going to solo through all the content, especially against like elite bosses and stuff, they're going to get a little frustrated. A Sentinel gives them a much better chance to have a smooth experience. With a tanker, they will survive, but they may kill so slowly. And this isn't just my opinion. I definitely have had plenty of people who play tanks. In fact, I was just talking with one last night. He's like, would you please run a blaster or something with me because I'm killing things very slowly, you know, on my tanker that I'm leveling up through the leveling process. So that's where my opinions come from on this. Yours may differ, especially if you're going to play level 50 all the time and you're just going to do, you know, high-end, you know, enhancements, super high-end enhancements. Of course, you're going to have a different experience. So I hope this sparks some more interesting conversation down below. I am keeping an eye on the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching today, and may God bless you.